Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Gavin from Design Tribe, and today I'm so excited to bring you another tutorial again. And today we're going to be designing this simple flyer in Photoshop. I'm going to be showing you step by step how to achieve this kind of flyer in Photoshop. Let's get straight to it. First thing we want to do is to create our project file. So I'm going to click on File, New, and here I'm going to make my width 2000 pixels and the height 2000 pixels, resolution 300 pixels. I'm just going to click on OK, and now once that is done, I'm going to create the background color I want to use for this, and for that I'm going to be using an adjustment layer like you see here, and I'll just go to my notes here, copy that color code, and I'm just going to paste it here so it gives me the exact color I want to use. And once that color is selected, next thing I'm going to do is to bring in the other elements for the design, and the first element I want to bring in is the world map. So I'm just going to drop it within the design, and now I want this world map to blend seamlessly with the background. What am I going to do? I'm going to make use of blend mode. So for the blend mode that I'm going to use for this is divide. So I'm just going to select on divide, but when you look at the edges here, you see that they are not actually smooth. I'm just going to make them smooth by adding a layer mask and using my soft brush and painting on those edges with a black color to take out those harshness around the edge of the image. So I'm just going to paint gently around the edges like that, and you now see that my wall map is now seamlessly joined with the background. So I'm just going to reduce my opacity like that to about this level, and I reposition it here. The next thing I want to do is to bring in the main subject of the design, which is this man, and I'm just drag, and I will not drop it here yet. I'm going to place it outside, use select subject to remove the background of the image. Once Photoshop has done its selection, most at times it doesn't do a perfect job, so I'm going to use a quick selection tool to modify to make sure that the selection is perfect. That is just going to take a few minutes. So once I get the selection perfectly okay, I'm just going to mask it out. So once the selection is done like that, I'll just click on this layer mask button here, and it's going to take out the background from the design. So I'll just drag and I drop into my design, press Ctrl Command T on my keyboard, and increase the size of the image to something like this. Okay, I think I'm happy with what I see. I just want to drop it down a little like that, and now next thing I want to do is to create a new layer, and for this new layer I'm going to be using an orange color like that. Increase the size of my brush to something like this, and I'll just dab once here like that. Once that is done, I'm going to now click here and move this world map a little to the side, and to make everything look perfect, I'll just zoom in a little, and I'll take out these white areas from this by using my pen tool here. I'll change this to path, and I'll just use my pen tool to make a clean selection around this area like that. Right click, make selection. Okay, and I go to the mask of that layer, and I'm going to fill it with black like that to take out that part. And I think this other area too, I'm going to do the same thing here. Right click, make selection, and I fill this with black. Okay, once that is done, I'm going to go back to where we ended from, which is here, and I'm going to add one more image into the background. which is going to be this cross. So I'm going to bring this cross here. Once I drop the cross into the project, you see it actually covers everything. So I'm going to select just the cross area like this with the rectangular marquee tool. I'll press Ctrl or Command J on my keyboard to make a copy. Now delete the original one that I added, and for this I'm going to use the blend mode known as screen. Once screen is selected, I'll add a layer mask, use my brush, make sure my foreground color is black, reduce the size of the brush like that. I'm just going to paint on this unwanted area like this. So this doesn't really look good at the moment, but we are going to just do a few more changes, and you're going to see how this is going to blend in perfectly with the background. So to do that, I'm just going to drop the size of the cross a little like that and position it here. Once it is dropped like that, I'm going to add a hue saturation layer above the cross, and I'm going to clip it by clicking on this button. Once I clip it, the reason I'm clipping is so that the hue saturation layer affects just the cross layer. So whenever you clip a layer onto another, the layer on which the clip is applied, the effect on that layer is applied only to the layer that is directly beneath that effect layer. So once I do that, I'm going to use my hue button to modify this, and once it gets to this point, I leave it because it's actually the color of the cross now blends perfectly with the color in the background. And I'm just going to drop the opacity a little, not the opacity of the hue saturation, but the opacity of the cross layer itself a little, because actually the focus, let's assume that this is a picture, the focus of this image, like if you are looking at this through a lens, the focus is on the subject that is here, the man with the briefcase. So the cross is actually in the background, and it should not be in focus as much as the man with the briefcase is in focus. So once that is done, next thing I want to do, I'm just going to bring in another element, which is the logo of the organization, and I think I'm just going to drop it somewhere here and drop the size a little and position it here like that. And I bring in the next detail, which is this man praying. So I'm going to drag that and position it somewhere down here like this. And for this, I'm going to change its blend mode to soft light, and once soft light is applied, I'm going to add a mask to it, and I'll paint out these hard edges to make sure that this image blends perfectly with the background. And to do that, make sure your foreground color is black and it's a soft brush, turning your hardness down to 0%. And now I'm just going to brush around the image like this to make sure that he blends seamlessly with the background, something like this. Okay, once that is done, I may want to increase the size a little like that and drop the opacity down to say 34%, since you don't want everything to have the same intensity in the project. So the project is almost, the background is almost done. We are just going to add a little more details, but now for this this color we have here, I'm going to add some texture to it. It looks so plain. So what I'm going to do is just to convert this to a smart object. I go to filter noise and I'll add some noise to it. I think 5.82 is okay. And once that is added, you see it brings in some nice texture to the background. Now I'm going to be adding some other details to the design. If you're enjoying the video up to this point, please do well to support me by liking the video, and make sure if you're not yet subscribed to this channel to subscribe. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the first title that we are going to be using in this project, which is the alumni convention. So I'm just going to type it in like that. Alumni, select, oops, let me bring the text to the top like this, and it is brought there. Control C, I'll reduce the size, something like this, and I'm going to type in convention. I need a white color, and for this I need Acumin variable font. I think this one is going to go. Just type in convention like that. Control C, drop the size to something like this, and make sure they are all balanced like that. Now I'll use my shape tool. I'm going to draw a little line here beneath this text like that. Okay, and I'll centralize the line, something like this. Bring it up slightly, add a mask to the line, and I'll use my brush to paint out the areas I don't want in the line. So just wipe out the unwanted parts like that. Can bring this a little closer. I'll add a drop shadow on this alumni text so it looks a little more stronger than it is. I think something like this is going to work well. Okay, and now I'm going to add the theme of the program, which is making kingdom-minded entrepreneurial giants. So I'm going to select this same text up here, just create a copy by holding Alt, and I'm going to type making, all in caps, making. Control T, going to increase the size of the text to something like this, and I think that is okay. Okay, once that is increased like that, I'm going to create a copy of it. Just click and drag down like that. Type giants here like that. I think the text is a little too big. I'll select it so, and I'll drop it down a little like this. And now in between them, I'm going to switch to this orange color, and I'm going to create this, something like this, and I'll push this to the top like that. And for this text, I'm going to apply a gray gradient to it. I'll just double click on it to the layer style, and I'll go to gradient overlay, and I'll select a gray gradient, this one like that. I don't want it to just be pure white, so I'll do the same thing here, and I'll apply gradient overlay, same gradient. Okay, now I'm going to type in the remaining detail within that line using the black color, and for this I'm going to use Montserrat, then Montserrat medium, reduce the font size to something like that, and I'll close the line spacing like this. So bring this to the top like that and position it here, and it's making kingdom minded, so I'll type in kingdom minded entrepreneurial. Select everything like that. I think I'm going to put the font size to 12. Select everything. I'm going to change the color to black like that. Oh, my spelling of kingdom is so wrong. It's kingdom minded should be on one line like that. I think I'll drop this. Yeah, 11 will do just fine, and space it up a little. So we obviously need to reduce the size of this rectangle like that, and bring this up. So next thing I'm going to do is I want to have a kind of shadow effect on this making text. So I'm going to come to where I find the making. I'm going to create a new layer above it, use my brush like that, make sure I pick a dark version of the background color, dark blue color, and now I'm going to just dab slightly like that. Yeah, that gives it a little effect that makes it nice to look at. So once that is done, I'm going to add the other details. Then the text, the theme text of the event. For that, I'm going to reduce my font size. Let me just say I use medium condensed and I bring it down to say 10. 10 is a little too small. 11, and I'm typing in Isaiah 45 verse 1 to 3. So I'll just type in text Isaiah 45 verse 1 to 3 like that, and I position it below there, and now I'm going to type in the date. It's going to be on the 2nd of November 2024. Select everything. I want this to be bold, so I'm going to increase the size. 30 is a little too big. I'll drop it to something like this. And create a copy. Type in at Yaoundé like that. Now change the fonts to medium, and I'll drop the size to say 16. This looks better. So I'm going to select all these layers like this, create a group for all of them. I think these ones can be grouped like that. Okay, I'll add a rectangle to the group. and kingdom minded to the group also, like that. Control C, and I'll move all of these upwards like that. And for the alumni convention, I'm also going to group its own components together. Control T, we drop the size a little and I'll position it somewhere here like that. And I think I'm going to turn off that. Well, it actually works. So now I'm going to bring in the Facebook account. Let's position it somewhere here, and YouTube account. I think this is it. Position it somewhere here like that. And now there's another item we haven't brought into our design, which is that of the aircraft. So I'll drop it somewhere here, and for this I'm going to change the background by clicking on select subject. And once the selection is done, I may just want to refine it a little. See, the selection was not really perfect, so I'll just refine it a little like this. Okay, let me see if a blend mode can solve this problem, because the aircraft is actually really small. Just position it somewhere here. Oops, deselect that. If we change the blend mode, so it doesn't solve the problem, so we are forced to make a clean selection of that. So I'm just going to go back here, bring the design, the image back in like that. Okay, and I'm going to delete this layer mask like that. So I'm going to zoom in and manually select this plane like this. It's going to take some few minutes and it's going to be done. Okay, so I'll just click on make selection and apply my mask, and we now have the aircraft. Just drop into the design like this and just reposition it somewhere here, and I want to bring it behind. I think I'm going to increase the opacity of my cross a little like that. Now I want this layer to have luminosity so it blends with the colors around it, and I'll go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, just to add, not Gaussian blur, motion blur, sorry, so it gives it some motion. Yep. And now I'm going to move him up a little like this. bring this background layer down so my cross shows a little more. Control T, expand it a little like that. I need this cross to pop a little more. Yeah, I think where it is, it's okay right now. Okay, now I need some banknotes flying around here, so I'm going to go back to my resource file. So drop that into the project and I click on select subject to make a selection of the banknote. Once it's done, just click on mask to mask it out, position it here. I think this is going to be okay. Position this here, create a copy, Ctrl J, and Ctrl T. I'm going to use the warp tool. Okay, to warp that, I'm going to rasterize the layer first. Ctrl T, warp. So I'm going to warp it like this. Yeah, something like that. It's going to work well. Position it here. Ctrl J to create a copy. Position it here, but now I bring it beneath the leg. Ctrl T. Sorry, select that. Ctrl T. I think I rotate it like that, so it has another direction. And size like that. For that particular one, I'm going to add motion blur to it like that, and I'm going to create another copy of this, bring it somewhere here, rasterize this, oops, rasterize this like that, Ctrl T, warp, just to have some variation in the banknote. I think this looks okay. And filter blur, motion blur, just like that. Okay, so once these elements are added, I just need to do some slight repositioning and general color grading of the design. So to proceed, I'm going to select everything from start to the end like that. I'm going to create a group. So if you've watched up to this level, thank you for watching. Please do well to help me by liking the video and subscribing to my channel. And let's do this final step to refine everything better. I'm just going to go to my camera raw, and under camera raw, I'm basically going to do some slight adjustments. So here I want it to be a little more contrasty, and bring down my highlights a little like this, and dehaze it a little. I think I'll need to sharpen the design a little more. And that is it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please do well to like it, share this video, subscribe to my channel, because I do these videos often. Do well to subscribe if you are not yet a subscriber. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.